Trekking in monsoon in the Himalayas is almost synonymous with river crossings because this is when you'll do some of the most river crossings in our country. But how do you cross a river and how do you do it safely? Today I'm not going to be doing the talking. I have Ravi, who's a head of experience and safety at Indiahikes, talking to us all the way from Hampta Pass, one of the most notorious treks, especially for river crossings. This is part of our Trek Smart in Monsoon series where we are bringing to you lots of tips to trek really well in the monsoon season and enjoy your trek. So make sure you hit subscribe and the bell icon next to it to get more in this series. But for now, over to Ravi.
I'm Ravi, Chief of Experience and Safety at Indiahikes, and I'm here at our Jobri campsite. Right now it is drizzling. Hundreds of people are coming in and trekking in over here, but I have also been part of several rescues that has happened in Hampta Pass specifically, and all of these rescues have been with regards to river crossing. And this is one question all of the trekkers must be having in: how safe it is to cross a river and what are the do's and don'ts to follow when it comes to river crossing. So before I start sharing my thoughts, the first thing that each one of us must be very, very mindful of is that while you go on a trek and then there is a situation to cross the river, make sure that you check your weather well in advance, because the river usually swells up with immediate rain, with any form of rain. Even if it is drizzling over here, it might be raining up higher up in the mountains. Similarly, the second thing is that in major situations, the river streams in the morning are quite shallow and narrow and much gentle compared to in the afternoon, because what happens is, because of the afternoon temperature, all these glaciers and snow which is higher up there in the mountains, they melt quickly and then the water starts rising quite a bit. So that's the reason choose to cross over the river or the water stream during morning as early as possible, to maybe 10 o'clock or 11 o'clock, but not beyond that. So now if there is a situation you actually come across a river in front of you, there had been situations where people have misjudged the flow of the water. They tried crossing the water in a wrong manner and then eventually lost their balance, and there had been some casualties that has happened over there. And it is very, very important for all of us to make sure to follow certain guidelines which I am letting all of you know. So I will start off with sharing what kind of river or water stream you should be crossing in and how to judge them. So starting off with how to judge the water stream. So water stream can be divided into two aspects which needs to be judged. Number one is what is the flow of the river, and number two is what is the depth of the river. So based on these two criteria, you make your call and then try crossing the river. So now coming to the flow. So the flow comes in basically in three forms. One is gentle, second is mild, and third is violent. How to differentiate them? Mild is, gentle is something where the river stream is going by. When you are talking with your friends, all of your friends are able to hear your voice because the water is not making as much sound. And also the ripples in the waters are very gentle and you can actually see the base of the river quite clearly. Now coming to the mild one. Mild one will have ripples, but you will still be able to see the base of the river well, though the flow will be quite a bit and you will have to shout out to speak with your friends. But yeah, over here also you will be able to see the base of the river. The third one is a violent one. Violent one, very easy to identify, is that you have to shout out to speak to even the person next to you. The next thing is that there are ripples which is making the water completely either white, or there are sediments which is flowing in the water because of which you are not able to see the base of the water at all. Sometimes when you are crossing the glacial water will be full of sediments. So in those situations, just look out for the ripples, because the ripples will mostly be white, and more ripples means the water is more violent. Now coming to the depth of the water. So depth is also coming in the form of coming into your ankle length to your knee length, and then from your knee to upper thighs or your waist level. So starting off with your ankle level, if at all that is the situation, feel free to cross the water because it will be non-violent at all. And usually all the rivers in the morning are in ankle deep or slightly above the ankle deep. Next comes in is your knee level water or slightly above that. So usually when you are crossing the river, there can be some sections which is slightly deeper. So even in those situations also, it is okay for you to cross. The only condition is the current should not be violent. It should either be gentle or mild, but not violent. In those conditions, you can cross the river. But coming to the third part, which is your upper thighs to your waist level, avoid in all conditions to cross those rivers because you might not know what if the starting point of that river crossing is until that depth. It can go further deep into those waters. And of course, if there is the water stream is also mild or violent in this case, definitely do not attempt to cross the river in that case. Very, very rare situations, if at all there is a known place that you are crossing in, then in those cases, you will have to, your entire lower body will get wet in that situation. But again, the problem is that lower current might be higher and you will not be able to balance yourself up. So that's why avoid crossing any kind of river crossing if it is there here. It is at your waist level height. So now if at all you are crossing the river, what all safety precautions you need to carry? The first thing that you need to do is whenever you are crossing the river, make sure you are facing the stream. You must not go away from the stream because what happens is your knee has a tendency to bend, and if you are going along the flow of the water, what will happen? There is a possibility that you can force away with the current of the water. But if you are going facing the water stream, then you will have better stability to move forward with. Now the second thing is look out for rocks where the water is flowing like on top of it, because sometimes these rocks are quite slippery in nature. So usually in the Himalayas, we ask our trekkers to remove our shoes. But if you are doing any monsoon trek in Sahyadris or central India, you can very well wear your shoes and cross the river. If at all you are carrying your Crocs or sandals, which has a proper locking mechanism, it is advisable that you should wear your Crocs or sandals while crossing the river. Shoes, the only reason we do not allow trekkers to wear the shoes is because if the shoes get wet, the later part of the journey can become difficult for the trekkers. But otherwise, you can wear other things. But if you are going barefoot, mind you, the water is quite cold. And if the water stream crossing is quite long, after a while, you will stop feeling your feet. There has been cases where trekkers have literally hit a rock and they have started bleeding, but they did not realize it, and they realized it only after a while. So that's why be very carefully watch your step when you are crossing the river. The next thing is many people choose to walk, if they are walking in a group, to hold each other's hand. While holding hands is good, but if you are making a very long chain of people walking together, it may be possible if one person is unbalanced, the entire chain of people can go unbalanced and it can be a safety hazard. So in those situations, it is better that instead of going as 10 people together, make a group of 3 to 4 and make sure when you select that team, every team member within each of these teams, one team member need to be the strong or the taller one who can take charge of the team going together. If you are crossing, if somebody is if you're going along with a group, make sure you also have a rope. So usually the lead person goes to the other side, ties the rope on the other side, and the other end is tied to the other end of the river crossing, and hold the rope while crossing the river. It just gives a bit more of stability. In case the flow of the river is a bit mild, on the milder side, so in those situations, people can also be anchored to that rope and they can walk together in those aspects. But in any case, if there is a waist level or a violent river crossing is required, so the best thing to do is to put a Taroline traverse rope. It requires somebody with technical skills. Our team members at Indiahikes are technically trained to make a Taroline traverse rope, which is fixed on the other end and tightened on the other end, and people can, with the help of a pulley, go from one end of the river to the other side of the river. And of course, there are many other small aspects that we need to focus on. For example, do not shout when you are passing by. When you cross the river, always do a head count. Always make sure that all your mobile phones and your personal belongings are well, it is kept properly inside your pocket and zipped so that it does not fall down. The next thing is your backpack should not have all those buckles kind of like closed up, because in any situation, if somebody falls on into the water, immediately remove your backpack and stand up. But if you have locked all your buckles, it may be possible that you can be carried away because of the weight of the backpack. And last but not the least, if you're crossing the river, the moment you reach to the other side of the river, start generating heat as much as possible. Keep your hand towel or a towel handy so that the moment you reach to the other side, you immediately dry your feet, wear your socks and shoes, and then you can start your journey ahead. And that's the part of river crossing. Of course, it sounds a bit scary, but I'm telling you, river crossing is one of the most fun activity that you can encounter on a trek like Hampta Pass, where Chika, Jwara, and Shia Guru Nala are the stream crossing that happens. And I must tell you, each of the trekkers who have gone back all of these river crossing have been the fondest memories that they have taken along with them, which is part of the adventure. But at the same time, having the knowledge of your own safety is the most important aspect, irrespective of whether you are trekking in the Himalayas or trekking in any part of India or the world. These techniques are the ones that needs to be followed anywhere that you go, and it is good to have some technical skills when you are choosing to go on a hike or a trek where you encounter a stream crossing. And I hope whosoever is watching this video is getting an insight of what to do and how to prepare yourself for a stream or a river crossing.